lives. But the control system has also hit walking the dog, which in principle is me taking my dog for a walk in order to entertain UK column members in particular. But when I prepared by uploading episode 5, which was due to go out Sunday just gone, up popped a warning that my content had been removed due to a violation of our community guidelines. So effectively, even walking the dog censored by YouTube. I'll do more of this in extra time, so I will flick through this section quite quickly. But essentially, it gave me some guidance as to what I should be looking for. It gave me a timestamp, but it talked about content that posed a serious risk of egregious harm by spreading medical misinformation about currently administered vaccines that are approved and confirmed to be safe and effective by local health authorities and the World Health Organization. Anything challenging that isn't allowed on YouTube. So let's just have a little listen to what Piers Corbyn had to say, because he was the gentleman speaking at that particular time. This is only a tiny section of what he actually said.
Number 4 I've got on the list is vaxes. The origin of vaccines. You see, I think, okay, we can see the mRNAs are common. And then you go back and you see these different vaccines. Well, like we got this thing about blood poisoning, you know. Well, that was all connected with importing vaccines. Pleased to look at criminal charges in the infected blood scandal, which is what, 30, 40 years ago. Well, we should look now at the murder going on. I mean, the biggest genocide in the world is happening now. 17 million people have been killed by this vaccine. So, how did we get to everybody believing in vaccines?
Well, that was only a little clip. He did speak for a few minutes on the subject of vaccine, but you're not allowed to give a personal opinion anymore. You're not able to use your own acumen, your own brain to decide what is right and what isn't. No, this was censored by YouTube, and I had to cut that passage out in order to get the video up. But I then got the opportunity to be trained, or reframed as I prefer to call it, by YouTube, so that I understood what their policy was. So this is what pops up on screen. Get started, look at your content, take action, take a policy training. Well, when you do that, it quickly tells you about medical misinformation and says that YouTube is trying to prevent misinformation, but the misinformation can be about treatment or denial. So it's quite comprehensive. I ran through a little training program. They ask you questions. Misaka and her friends film themselves having a conversation in the car. Let's have a look at this in more detail. In the video, Misaka says she doesn't want to get the COVID-19 vaccine because the shot won't actually prevent her from getting COVID-19. Is this a violation? Yes or no? I said, yes, it is a violation, but it actually said it doesn't violate our policy because she does not spread medical misinformation. According to information from health authorities, there is not a guaranteed prevention method for COVID-19. This one, sorry, that's a little bit clearer on screen. I've got another one here. Tammy posts a video after getting influenza vaccine. She shares that she became permanently paralysed after she received her seasonal influenza shot. In the video, she warns others not to get it. And you're given the opportunity of a yes or no. It goes on here that is it a violation? Yes, it is a violation of the policy. Sorry, bring that up on screen. We do not allow claims that vaccines cause chronic side effects. Now, this went on. If Mike would just kindly bring me back on screen, I'm just going to move through some of these slides, because eventually when you get to the end, it tells you that if you've done well enough, you've actually been retrained, reframed to understand what YouTube needs. So this is one of the last screen that comes up. It said, "Nice work. I made some mistakes, but eventually I was able to understand what I needed to say in order to get the result that I wanted." But the irony of all this is, of course, that we were banned from YouTube originally by putting out the testimony of Nicola, who said what happened to her husband, paralysed from the neck down as a result of vaccines during the COVID-19 pandemic. That was true. It was later reported by the Daily Mail, but this resulted in the UK column being completely suspended from YouTube. And although we can post some material, it's clear that we dare not speak on this subject. Now, are we surprised? Not really, because if we have a look at what Neal Mohan, the chief executive, had to say, this is as reported in the Hollywood Reporter. He says that they're going to continue to engage with policymakers to share our perspective on policies that impact our creators. We're aligned with government officials in wanting to create a safe environment that also allows for a plurality of voices to be heard. It goes on to talk about Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act in the US, which gives us the ability to remove harmful content. It's talking about European limits on political speech, and it's talking about Canada forcing us to show content based on, quote, government requirements. So it's pretty clear that YouTube is fully in bed with the government, big corporation in bed with government, as Ben was talking about earlier in the news. But maybe if we really want to understand it, we should think in terms of money. So this is the same magazine talking about YouTube ad revenue dropping to 6.7 billion during the first quarter. So my question for the audience is, do you fight government when you're making so much money? And I suspect the answer to that is no, you don't. So we can expect more clampdown by YouTube and, of course, Google itself. Alex, we're a little bit out of time, so I'm just going to try and move us just on to your last two memes that you kindly had for us. And we should be able to cover overseas legal matters during extra time. Take us through the memes.
Indeed. Join us in extra time for more. So the meme that I'm starting with here is a good one, pointing out that the outliers in world corruption are North America, the United Kingdom, and the European Union. Somebody has highlighted those jurisdictions in red here and has captioned it, "When you have zero corruption because you call it lobbying." And the globe is beaming a smile and giving us a thumbs up because, of course, no corruption problem in those northerly parts of the world. No, we just call it lobbying. My second one is the results of a Limerick competition. I try to hold them on Fridays on my Eastern Approaches Telegram channel, and I gave them last week the theme of Sir Khmer. I deliberately went for that because the Prime Minister, of course, doesn't like people to be reminded of his knighthood, which he got for serving the state as a civil servant. So and then the media are complicit with that. They just call him Keir instead of Sir Keir. And having tried alternatives for the surname like Smarmer or Stürmer, I think we're going for Sir Khmer as the epithet of choice as described by Ben here today. So here's the winning entry for my Limerick competition. There once was a man named Sir Khmer who took all his orders from Blair, his boots polished bright to brace for the fight, but no kepi to mess up his hair.
Okay, Alex, thank you very much for that. People in the chat box saying that Starmer is looking older already after a couple of months in office, whatever that means. All right, we should end it there. Ben, Alex, thank you very much for joining us. Huge thank you to the UK column audience, and a very, very big thank you to all of you sponsoring us by a monthly membership. So if you're not on board with that, please consider it. Help keep the UK column going. We'll be back in a few moments for extra time, and we'll have a look at that YouTube censorship in more detail. Join us then. And UK column news back on Wednesday at 1 o'clock. See you then. Bye-bye.